I've got my digital audio recording device today. I just want to give you an update for the 22nd of the 8th 2026. So I'm at Bridport and it's been the nastiest day ever. So to basically start with, the bike issue's been off the fucking scale. Yeah, so right. So to start the day, there's a new van name on the road, and it's called getting flies in my mouth. It's called On Dad Mike. Obviously, my dad's name is Mike. But obviously, I wasn't en route or had plans to see my dad today, so there's no need to set a van up to suggest that. So they're getting nasty about it. So obviously, the loud bike issue stopped me having a toss this morning. So obviously I went to go to the bus station, and obviously just hitting out black and blue cars, bikes, tying ditchy bumhole, tingling rim, tingling bell end, itching bell end and rim, and just taking the fucking piss in that way. So when I get on the bus, to start with, it's basically timing to, you know, like a bike wheel rubbing under your cock, where you're getting an instant boner due to sexually excited impulses and whatever. At each and every corner, every time I turn my head, bike, or motorbike, or three-wheel bike, or bike on car roof, or bike wheelie. So when we get going into Bridport, you're looking at about 400, all being systematically timed, purposely controlled to my penis. So that's to start the day via setups to tell me that I'm a sick bastard and that I'm never going to get anyone and not having sex. And to tell me that I'm an old person and I need to go with a granny on a Zimmer frame, while cheering about it or getting aggressively malicious and outright raging in a psychopathic manner to the way that this suggestion's being applied. Now these vehicles, and no offence with the names on these vehicles today that have come out, you know, my dad wouldn't like it if I was to mention the names, but on this occasion I'm just going to mention it so you've got some idea of what these people are doing or what they're causing. So you had the second time, well, this is from this morning, it occurred again. You had the On Dad Mike van, you had the Bike Means Mike van, and there's also a t-shirt, and there's no need for this, but the t-shirt actually says enjoy sex with Michael. So, you know, this is not something that should be happening. All this, I don't know why it's happening in that way, but there's obviously this sort of suggestion's been going on for a long time, but they seem to be wanting to be a bit more suggestive about it, or a bit more aggressive about it. So let's move on to this Ella, shall we? I'm not really supposed to say this person's name, but I am pissed off that I've lost a friendship with her from that one day that I saw her in January on the 14th of in 2026, because I did like that person. There seems to be a lot of lookalikes to that person, and obviously, when it comes to these sorts of bastard setups, basically what they're saying is that you lost Ella, which is actually true, because I haven't seen her and I can't guarantee she's in a relationship, and if she is, she'd have to split up before it's too late, where the mistake has been made and pregnancy takes place. I did a documentary about this, because obviously you have 250 music tracks that are revealing her name or suggestions. The media are applying that I'm with her, suggestions right across the system, all down on me, and is also a religious type name, which means the same as Jesus Christ near enough. And also book covers, like book cover, the simplified study of the Mind Simplified Study or whatever it's called. It's got the same head as on the Dance Trance tape covers that I had when I was a teenager. And obviously I still listen to that music to this day. But The thing is, that specific person I really, really liked, and I'm very fucked off that I've lost that friendship. Even though she's not that old, she is still in the range of an adult. But the problem is, because of the age gap, they split up our communication and friendship. And she no longer goes to the community day. Because she said she was going to go down till, I think she said May, I'm not sure. Or it could have been March or May. And then she said, but she never turned up ever again. And then I was put, then they give me a safeguarding because of stuff I put on the internet. And obviously after that, they told me if I was to continue putting stuff on Facebook in the way that I've been putting it on there, I could be banned from using the internet for good, and I could have curfew held on me from going out. Anyway, I stopped putting a name on, just mentioned it as 4 letters. In recent times, they don't seem to be as bothered as what they initially were about this issue when it comes to Facebook. But what's happened now is, because I've got safeguarding on me, they're going to have to replace that person, even though the media, music industry and everything else is applying that I'm going in with that person, and it's still happening strong at this minute in time. The thing is, that person, she felt like family when I saw her. I thought, later on, I want to try and get with that person. But I got no way of communicating with her because I can't, and I'm not allowed to. If she was to contact me, then I think that's okay. The thing is, now the fucking friendship split up, has landed me in a situation where, and this is another thing that's annoyed me today, these setups are saying that I've never been sexually abused, and getting really violent and nasty about it, and saying that you're a shit stirrer, you're fucking sick, and you're fucking going and you're being ripped to fucking pieces. They've also made the suggestion that you're having your fucking wrist cut with the creator God, and that we jeopardise you, and that's because you're fucking sick, fucking sick, when I've done nothing wrong and never molested anyone. So after that, you've had vehicles tried time to smash into me, overhanging trailers to smash me apart, and I had to keep changing directions on the path over 200 fucking times to avoid people either coughing, talking heavily over me, or wet coming out their mouths in my direction. And that's happened many times today. We've had a lot of people sneeze, a lot of people cough. I've had to put up with it. People vaping every few seconds. I've had to put up with a vape. I've had to inhale everyone's vape. So it's been about 100 incidents of having to put up with that. And also when I'm changing direction, times as I move or direct, they're causing a bike to be angled into my legs or right into me. In that way, they've been doing that all fucking day. And obviously I've had about 50 people giving me, well, they're mostly mild remarks, mistaking me as Saven. So I've got a piece of cardboard with my address on it. I got in a shit because I was carrying a Dance Trance flyer, and I took it and I took the card, and it's got my name and address on it. So when I was getting the Saven for it, I was passing that person again and walking past with my address and thing on the bloody letter, the letter that I had, the flyer that I bought, Dance Trance and Never Ending Story, 12th of the 2nd, 1994, which is a jungle event. Because I had the single tapes going back when I bought them out of 10-15 records at Weston-super-Mare back in the about 96 area. It was when they were in a sale, because they still had some of the old mixes there that nobody bought back in 1994 when it came out. So the overall structural force of today has been really, really malicious. And there's also been a couple of people that I think I'm going with Ella. I'm really fucked off about this because, let's put it this way, I liked her as a friend more than I fancied her. I had a heart for that person as a friend, and cut my friendship with her. See if they've made it clear in there again. because I've got a long time to wait for the bus, because I went out to town early today because I just couldn't put up with the setup. So I was only in town for about an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes. I just could not put up with the fucking setups today. It's just too heavy. I never thought I'd get in here again. I think someone might have come through, because what's happened is those brambles have grown bigger, and I managed to grab them, move them aside to get through, and they stuck to the other brambles where I got in. Last time I came here to get in here, it took me about 5 minutes to get through. So I'm a bit shocked by that, because it hasn't been cut down or anything like that. All I was doing is moving the big overhanging things, and it just took about 3 minutes, if that. So I made it in here again. That's good. Yeah, I'm really pissed off about this. That one person in particular, because that's the nearest person I've liked who's female in my whole fucking life. Taking away family and relatives. But then again, there's not really females. So basically, yeah, take it and look at it that way, I guess. As a friend, even at school, or when I was a child, because I didn't really have many friends, I like that Ella than anybody else. And I'm fucked off that friendship's gone. Really fucked off. I mean, if I was, before I was allowed to, before I was banned from stating all this stuff on Facebook, because obviously they thought I saw her more than once, and they thought that she said no to you when you asked her out, and I thought, I hadn't even asked her out, I saw her on that one day only. And that's why they thought that they got me down as stalking her and put that safeguarding on me, and said that I might get banned from the internet for good, or have curfews on me. I thought, we hadn't done anything wrong, and the information's being misinterpreted. So yeah, it got reported by Lucy, who was the one that goes there as well. I can't say her surname, obviously, but that's what happened there. I wasn't told that, but I was hinted that. Because obviously, it's like I was saying, that's who possibly could have reported me, and sort of made it sound like your instinct's correct. Yeah, I'm really fucked off about that, because we've got the media, you see. The media are saying I'm going with this person. Right through, they've got the football season right through until May 2027. And they're also suggesting that I'm going with Ella. How can I go with Ella if I've got no communication with her? How can I contact her when I'm not allowed? I mean, if I did go with her, I wouldn't hurt her, I tell you that. I would never cheat on her either. Even if I saw the fittest girl in the world that I fancied, I wouldn't fucking cheat on her, because I like her like anything. But it's all over. Even though I've got to spend the rest of my life feeling sick of all my music tracks, which includes saying Justin and Ella, and the love of Ella and stuff like that, or choir samples in the God choruses like I can't do it properly, but I'm really pissed off about this, because if I saw her, just supposing I saw her, and I'm still not with anyone, and she was pregnant, or she had a child and with a boyfriend, it would make me fucking feel sick inside. Really fucking, like I want to fucking throw up inside, where I've been shit on, even as just friends. I really would, because obviously, when you've been sexually abused and never had anyone at all in your whole life, how are you supposed to fucking see what could have been a possibility of true friendship and relationship that's been taken away to be fucked up? And no one's replacing it, you see. And the amount of people that were mistaking me as Savenne today really was irritating. Obviously, it wasn't quite as high as 100, but for Bridport, it's more like a day in Yeovil. When I get threats, except these were mild rather than, it's more like remarks, and until I got that that cardboard out, the letter that's got my address on. I don't like sharing my address with people, but I was getting a bit annoyed. Which says Justin Langford, and then it's got my address on it. Is there anybody out there that can help me find me a replacement to Ella? Because not being funny, but the media is still suggesting strong at this minute in time that I'm going with Ella. This is the problem, and they put it through. The future has fallen through. and they're not doing nothing. The media are not aware that they stopped her and they turned her against me. And she's like got like a Jesus Christ. Her name actually literally means into the Messiah's, into the God world of the Christianity God. I mean, she's not the devil in disguise. I don't think. I don't know. Why was she taken away? Because she was nice to me. And the friendship, we were giggling at each other on the day I was playing pool. And I was letting my real self out, which I don't usually do, because she was the one I thought I really liked, like that person in particular. Out of every fucking person I've known that's female in my life, apart from obviously family, like my mum. It would be helpful if somebody could replace that person. It doesn't matter what age that person is, but it's got to be someone that's friendly, someone that's not going to cheat on me, because I wouldn't cheat on that person. A loving person, preferably Asian, and it's got to be someone with smooth attraction, because I don't take to the grubby type. I'm not being funny, but there's a couple of the people that actually sexually abused me as a child. They had a smooth skin as well, and I'm not being funny. To tell me to go with rough skin when that's happened is a bit like saying we've sex murdered you. So if anyone can help me in that way, who's genuine, or give me a chance at least, then please contact me, because I just can't fucking get anyone because they're too fucking stupid. The problem is that they're in relationships, and this is a problem. They've got a smartphone, and we're about 500 plus friends, and when they split up, you've got no fucking chance of getting that person. She's going to go with one of those 500 friends, that she's going to put on Facebook or something like that, oh, I'm single again. Then you're going to get about 500 comments, or phone calls from friends she knows that are male, and they're going to grab her first. They're going to be perverted, and they're going to grab her before anybody else gets a chance. They put it through. They need to find me someone, but I don't know how it can be done. Because even the people before legal age of consent in the UK, they're in a relationship, and I need that fucking connection. I need that help, because they put it through. The problem is this setup, the music industry, the whole lot. The mainstream tracks are saying that I'm with Ella or going with Ella. They've even got predicted stuff that's predicted for the near future, like for a year's time, already suggested at this minute in time, when it's already fucking through. It's right across the fucking Strictly, well, not Strictly Jungles, but it's in the same series as the Jungle tapes I was listening to back in the 1990s. It's basically saying I'm going with Ella when I'm 45. In Dance Trance Randall Intelligence, Ella's coming strong, yeah. 10 minutes through on side A, or the first 10 minutes of the mix. Dance Trance Randall Intelligence, early 1995. Live at Atlantis, Trinity Hall, Bristol. The whole lot, the whole connection is rigged up around me, that I'm going with that person. So in some ways, in Armageddon, God's lost, because I've been defeated. In actual fact, this is actually quite serious, actually, to be fair. Although I'm a moany because I haven't had nothing, but if you look at it on the principle, it goes in favour of me in a dangerous way, because obviously I've never had anyone. So it works in favour in some ways if you want to work it on a religious spectrum. I mean, there was, but I'm not allowed to bring up this person's name or try and ask that person up, but for fuck's sake, can you fucking replace that person for me? Or if that person is... Right, so the night before last, which had been the what's the date today? Would have been the evening or the early hours of the 21st of the 8th, 2026. I think it was just before the early hours, I'm not sure. So it would have been the 20th of the 8th, 2026. I found a record. I was going through jungle tracks from the time period or the era of my favourite jungle. Well, I was listening to Swift and Zinc, a track called Crazed, spelt with a K. And obviously there are 2 other tracks on that record. I had a quick listen to them yesterday afternoon, late afternoon. One's called Relentless, and the other one's called Pretty Little Thing, I think. Well, that Crazed jumped straight into a 10 out of 10 track on first listen on the first night that I heard that track. And I was quite pissed on that specific night, but I want to mention something because when I was listening to it yesterday evening as the first track of when I started drinking, so I sort of started drinking about 10 o'clock, so in the evening, and I noticed that halfway through the track where that nice chilled melody comes in, that it says Ella 3 times. So what's going on? Because you can't reveal this name Ella if they've taken her away from me to stop any communications or friendship. Can someone replace this person, please? Because they fucked up. God's fucked up with my life. So if you want to work it on the principle of Armageddon, of making love and not war at the end for Justin Time, who's been fucking hanged and sexually abused and stopped from getting sex all his life, then you're going to have to go to war, aren't you? There's no choice in the matter. This is why I got the Mission Control Dance Trance t-shirt printed, because everyone turned against me, or they turned everyone against me and sexually crucified me. And I want to make it clear that it's too late. But because they're suggesting that I'm going with Ella with the Mission Control and suggesting that Ella's coming strong, or Ellen's not going to turn against you, and Ella understands the situation and she has a heart for you or whatever, I don't know if that's true. I just don't know. But there seems to be a lot of fuck-ups. And there's also got the animal voice sounds. Apart from the last 2 months, where animals have been starting to change or get aggressive, saying that you're being knifed or going to hell, you're burning forever, or that you're paying the price for turning against Ella and you're never being forgiven. Well, I haven't turned against her, have I? But obviously, God's a bit corrupt with the voice sounds of the animals and whatever, and saying that you're being ripped to pieces, and even the setups are being stepped up. Today is the first day where they stepped it up, which I mentioned at the beginning of this recording. So, yeah, this is not good at all, because I do actually like that person. Before this restriction was put on me, I was basically saying, if the chance came available, regardless of the age gap, although I'd be a bit wary because of this day and age, I'd still go with that person, that one specific person anyway, because I really like that person. But she's friendly. There was a few things she said I couldn't make out some of the stuff that she said, because she said it too quiet, and it's very noisy in there. Because you had the police officers in there, you had the other people that work in there. It's probably the busiest Wednesday I've ever known when I saw her, actually, to be fair, since I've visited that specific place. At the moment, that place is literally, sometimes there's only just one worker in there. It's gone from having a load of people in there to literally nobody in there at all at the moment. So, and the thing is, there's no one else you can replace it with or whatever, because there's no one else out there that's available. There's, but the problem is I've got to live the rest of my life knowing that all my jungle tracks, my favourite music, and all my dark ambient favourite tracks in the Cryo Chamber records, there's even in some classical, I've discovered a couple in some of the deep classical dark side stuff as well, incidentally. I forgot to mention that. And also is in the New Age meditation tracks as well. I've got to live the rest of my life with basically music that's saying that, some tracks do say that Ella loves you and all the rest of it, when it's possibly through. I've got to live the rest of my life with knowing that the Dance Trance takeover resembles Ella's face, and also my face resembles Ella as well. and it's got a similarity to my dad's eyes, but also looks like Izzy Simpson, the celebrity that was on Britain's Got Talent. You know, the little magician, going back before she became an adult. Like a decade or so ago, whenever it was they showed it on telly. Yeah, this is, you know, it's, I don't know what to say. The thing is, when you cut someone's wrist with a person that they want, or a person that's meant to be for them, it's too late. But I won't look at it on that principle as my wrist being cut, or everyone's wrist being cut, if they can replace the damage that's done and replace it with another person. It doesn't matter what age that person is, as long as she's got a sexy, smooth appearance, not too used or not well used, and someone that's not a parent, obviously, and someone that's not a single mummy. Also, basically, all I'm asking for is, I've done this right through since I started dating. All I ask for is someone that I can fancy, with a feminine appearance, with smooth skin like everybody else has had, that is not a mother. That's basically it. I do put younger because I'm getting all these really ugly types trying to have me, claiming that they're sexy and they're not the sexual type. There's sort of type that are actually, most of the people, in actual fact, going through the whole 21 years that I've been on dating online, out of the people in the UK, I think nearly not, but there's not been many that have messaged me or whatever, because they've been scammers, or they've just been moaning or started using aggressive behaviour because they're moaning about the age gap. But out of people that have actually messaged me, I don't think there's actually anyone that's better looking than, better with the same skin type or smoother to those that sexually abused me as a child, the youngest ones. That's how bad it is. Obviously, in modern times, and moving into a slightly different area of Somerset, there are people that are allowing the age gap. You're seeing people with massive age gaps, but the problem is the whole community are taking it. This is the problem. This is why when I knew that Ella on that one day, I wanted to try and get that friendship with her at that time. And I wanted, it's too early to, she said she was coming the following week, so I didn't push it straight away, but I had to push sort of, didn't want to lose that person in friendship. Something about that person I really like. I wouldn't feel embarrassed if I had to walk up in town with her or hold her hand in town. Not that one specific person, it's just something about that person that's different to everybody else. But, like I said, I think it's through. Maybe that's why Russia is aiming for nuclear war in the UK, because they messed up. Fuck. If you look at, because I don't know. Just supposing I was a connection of God, just obviously I'm not, but and I was a connection of God, and Ella was a connection of God, and that at the end times that we were supposed to collide and clash into into sexual relationship in a fictional reality, that would mean the devil would lose against trying to tear the two apart, which has already happened. Meaning that Jesus Christ has lost against Satan, if you want to work it on the principle of two gods that have come back to earth to go together. If you work it on that principle. And this is what it's like saying when it comes to all these music tracks or suggestions or commercials or adverts or whatever, because there's a lot of that suggesting that I'm with this person or going with this person, and it's all pinpointing but me when I'm 45, but they don't realise that that person has been disconnected from me and there's nothing that can be done about it. So in some ways everyone's cut their throat, everyone's cut their wrists. It's too late to do anything. Now obviously if there's a replacement, obviously it's not going to be the same God, it's going to be a different God. If you work it on the principle of gods. But at least that person will be compensated where the other God failed or turned. So it'd be like another hand of God that's replacing the God that's fallen or the God that's taken away from you. they won't even do that, will they? Nobody's helping me. This is why at this minute in time, I'm telling everybody that they put through, who I was supposed to go with, to be replaced. I don't even know. I mean, there's a small percentage, like 1% out of 99%, where that Ella might contact me and get that friendship going, so that at the middle of next year or whatever, we can then get together properly. When the football season ends, incidentally. Because that's when the football it ends in May next year. May, I think she said when she was... oh God, I don't know how to put it, because I can't, you know, I get in trouble, you see, if I say that, you know, if I say certain things out of place or whatever, or get banned from the internet. That's the problem. I think the best thing I could say here is, can someone fucking find me a partner, right? Because, you know, like, I'm not in a good way. You know, sort of fucking feeling like shit all my life. Days where I'm feeling fucking sucked under, having to have my fucking penis hit down with a loud bike, or if it's not a loud bike, the time I look like someone who sexually abused me as a child tying to an erection. The bike occurs regardless. Literally every single erection, apart from one erection, which I think was January the 1st this year, I'm not sure. Every bike on that fucking road's been tied to my fucking privates or itchy bum or whatever, and I'm really getting pissed off of it. So, you know, it's not on, you know, it's taking the fucking piss. But, if someone can replace that person, because I don't have to live the rest of my life knowing that it's deliberately been put through because everything's suggesting that I'm going with this person. People think I'm going as... A clairvoyant even fucking said I'm going with this person. Which goes back to a very early... I can't remember when it was now. I think it was March. When it was already being put through, by the way, when I never saw her again. The readings still contain that information that she's coming into my life. Then straight after that, come June, we started having paranormal activity occur in my oven, where the tray kept rattling, and it's done it on quite a few occasions. I've got a lot of video footage of this. Now, the spiritual meaning of that, it's not really, it's very vague, so I don't know what's happening. The last time it happened would have been about 2 weeks ago, where I did an audio recording, but I'm not quite sure what the message is that these spirits are trying to reveal to me. It could be a serious warning, that's all I can say. And there's been light flickering as well. One of the light flickers was to say there was nothing left. And then there was another as to say Tizzy. Or Izzy. Well, yeah, Izzy, in fact, yeah, Izzy. That Izzy Simpson, that was on Britain's Got Talent, but without anything else being flickered. The thing is, when it comes to celebrities, they're not going to go with people like myself. They go with the people that are a bit more higher up. So that's not going to be possible. But like I said, if someone from China, Japan, that's in the UK, or Asia that's in the UK, a replacement please, because I don't know, I'm unsure, that they shouldn't be suggesting that I'm going with that person or it's definitely going to happen. That's the thing. It just doesn't make sense. They've still got it. The problem is, it's been 8 months since I last saw her. But the progression of the suggestion, or the media, or the music industry, or music tracks that are coming out, there's even a jungle track where it says I'm in a relationship with Ella that's set to be released in September. And it's also one of those jungle tracks that I like. Obviously, I haven't heard the whole track because I've only got a sound clip on it. However, that doesn't seem to be on their site at the moment. But it was on there, going back, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's all unfolding with that specific name around me. Even the Virgin Mary in South Peverton Church resembles Ella. There's actually another Ella that actually, well, not Ella, her name's Ella Dora. This is only a child that's about between 4 and 6 years of age. that Ella that I knew on that day does actually look the same as Ella Dora. But obviously Ella Dora's a lot younger. She's only like, you know, a small child. And she's someone that goes to one of the churches and, you know. But, yeah, going back to the other Ella, the older Ella. Yeah, these suggestions that are unfolding around me is like never before. And I thought to myself, right in the time period of where they put that restriction on me, where I'm not allowed to contact her or put her, you know, put stuff to say that I'm, you know, about her or whatever in a certain way, you know, in a sexual way or whatever on the internet, is when it all starts to unfold, when all the media starts to become more tightly controlled to suggest that I'm going with this person. It just does not make sense. How is that happening? Because if it's already through, I mean, the only bit of news that's suggesting it's through is Putin going to war in the UK with World War III. That's the only. That's about the best it gets. Anyway, going off the subject of Ella, because I've had enough of being sickened inside and feeling groggy and fucking heart fucking broke. Well, I don't know how to word it, but hits your heart as well, you know, it makes you feel like your heart's broken, even though you're not friends with her or whatever, because of the because we're cut off. Moving on, if there's anyone single, as I mentioned, anyone with a smooth appearance, someone with a calm personality, someone that likes doing someone I don't want to lay about, and someone that's slim to medium build. I don't take to the curvy type, or I don't take to the African type. But anything else, if you want to give me the chance, and you're not a mother, you know, not a single mother, then please do. But if you're going to go with me, make sure you can try it first. Obviously, see how you go. But I do want sex. I'm not being funny, but I've been abused and I've not managed to get that properly in my whole life, and I want it raw as well. And I'm not going to hurt anyone that I go with. Now, like I said, it doesn't really matter about the age, but I want someone that's good looking and not someone that's well used. It's not fair when you've not had anyone in your whole life. So, you know, if you can do that favour for me and you live in the UK, then please do. But I'm not going to give you gift cards, Apple top-up cards or anything like that without it. Basically, I don't want scammers scamming me. And if you're from another country, you'll have to pay to get into the country. But I will help you. Although I ain't got much money, obviously, I don't get that much, but I will support you with my money until we can sort things out if you want to move into the UK and get with me. But it'd be more helpful if there's someone in the UK. I'm not too bothered about the age gap. I just want someone that I can fancy and someone that I can love and someone that's decent. That's all I'm asking for. And the type of attraction that I can fancy. That is all I'm asking for. So if you want to help me or give me a chance, then please contact me. And there's no need to be afraid of me, because I'm not going to hurt and I'm not going to cheat on whoever it is I go with. You'll find that out if you want to try it with me, that I'm not that sort of person. I mean, all the semi-friends I had, or they're not really friends as such, but people I knew, they've been in domestic relationships with people a lot younger than me, and they still hate me to the fucking shit today, worse than the partners that have been beating them, you know, and making them pregnant before getting out of that relationship. Even today, these sexual types of people that have got in that bad situation with a woman beater prefer that person than they do me. And I'm not making this up. That's how thick people are. And I would never hurt a woman. So, you know, if there's anyone single, as I said, contact me on Facebook, or even just go on YouTube, you know, give me a sort of somebody. I can't use WhatsApp, you see, or anything like that, because I don't use a smartphone, because I can't scan the QR code. I will get a smartphone, but I don't want to do it until I get a partner, because I'll be wasting money paying for 2 internet connections plus a smartphone when I never use it. because I won't ever use it, you see, because I'm always indoors when I use the internet, and when I'm out and about I'm always writing problems down of being sexually crucified, basically, and all the trouble that I get when I go out. So why would I want to use a smartphone when I go out? So I'd be wasting my time, because take a smartphone out, all I'd be taking it out for is looking for the time on it, you know, and that's it. And I wouldn't like to put my bank details into a phone either. If I lose the phone, you lose everything. This is stupid, this smartphone network. Obviously it's good in some ways, but there's no need to go to the extreme, if you get what I mean. But anyway, I've got to end the recording because I've got a few things I want to do before that bus comes. You know, sort of, I want to cut my nails. I've got a little tiny pair of cutters. And that, so I mean, the thing is, although I don't know if the connection, I just don't know. I think it's going to have to be replaced. Without me being allowed, if I'm not allowed to have communication with her, I think it's going to have to be replaced. But God has made a big mistake in the makings of my life, or the revelation of me getting a girlfriend. It's definitely going to have to be replaced. I don't think it's possible. If it is, that person will have to contact me because I can't contact that person. Or some form of force is going to have to cause that person to come towards me where the friendship continues. But I don't think it will. So yeah, if there's anyone new that can replace God as a girlfriend, then please do, because God's turned. Or if God hasn't turned against me, then they've turned God against me. And that's basically what the name Ella means anyway. It's a form of word in Christianity to mean God, the divine, the light, love, kind-hearted, all the rest of it. And it's through. There is another thing I want to mention I forgot to mention. This person's through as well. So let's look at it on the principle of if a male member dies and that side of the circuit doesn't like you and will have nothing to do with you, or won't want anything to do with you. Well, there's a girl that's quite a few years before she reaches the age of consent, but I just want to mention now, this person that's being mentioned is definitely through, completely through. So I just wanted to mention that. It's someone I've been accused of doing as well. And I've been accused of going there at Christmas when I wasn't there at Christmas, when I was at my place. And but I won't drop names or people into it or whatever, because it could cause offence. But you know, but this is the easiest way to document it. That's through as well. When I say that there's nothing left, every possibility has been counted for when I say this. Everything's been looked at, even those that are below the legal age of consent. Most of them over the age of 11, even in the family, are in relationships. And when they get in a relationship, even at a young age, they rarely split up. Or if they do, there's never more than 2 or 3 changes, and they're stuck with that person, and then they become a mother. And it's too late. So I just want to mention that as well. This is why when I saw that person on that one day, I wanted to try and get to know her a lot better. I did actually tell this person how I felt in my life and what I've been through, even though she's a lot younger than me. But unfortunately, when it comes to Ella, I think you can safely say it's got to be replaced. I don't know for certain, because there's too much suggestions with the media, and that shouldn't be happening. If it's through, it's through, and they shouldn't be applying that and going with that person if it's through. But this is the problem. They got noetic science technology. They know in advance before it happens. And they make the suggestion that they never mess up. There's never something that messes up. Like they do with the setups, when they're getting really nasty with the setups. They never mess up with the setups. They're always on the nail, always timed. But when it comes to this specific person under Ella, why are the media, why is the music industry, and why are God's suggestions and other suggestions coming hard at me to apply that I'm going to be with this person when I'm 45? I'm very worried about this because I need someone to help me get someone as fast as they can, because there needs to be a replacement, because I'm pretty sure it's through. I don't know for certain, but I just have that feeling, or I sense that it's through, yeah. But then we had that track, just 2 nights ago that I listened to, and it mentions Ella. It also has some other sample in it. Like, it's something, I can't remember what it was, but because again, I was tipsy even when I listened to it for the first time last night. I have 3 shots of vodka when I listened to it then. It's like it's something like Ella cares for you. It's something like that, but I can't remember what it is. I couldn't work it out properly. I'll have another listen. And this is on that Swift and Zinc. What was it? I've forgotten the name of it. Crazed, or whatever it was called. And then obviously there's 2 other tracks on that record called Relentless and Pretty Little Thing. No, second battery went flat. So I never heard that track in my whole life, and I listened to it 2 nights ago, and I just listened to it, went straight to a number, 10 out of 10 track on first listen. And when I first listened to it, I didn't take that information into account. I wasn't going into detail to see if it suggested Ella or not. And the night after, it comes at you. So but the thing is, it doesn't make sense because there's no connection with me or her. They've taken it away, or it's put through, or as a last result, I don't know, but she might not even like me. So why is the media and everything else, and the suggestion of God, and obviously animal voice sounds coming out to say that I'm going with Ella, by animals like seagulls, dog barks or whatever, coming out in that pattern? Going back, there are other people that are hearing this information and can work out how it's coming out. But the thing is, if something's through, it's through, and it has to be replaced. Do you know what I mean? It's too late. Yeah, and by the way, if there is anyone that will go with me, I want someone that feels comfortable with me, yeah. I don't want someone that's going to be, afraid of me or anything like that, yeah. Because obviously, even though I'm not going to hurt anyone, if it is a lot younger person, I want you to feel safe, yeah. Because I'm not the type that's going to hurt that person. But, I do prefer Asian, to be fair, but this is only because of the way I've been treated by most white people in my life, especially when it comes to the adult teens, the sexual types or the beautiful looking types. They've always nailed me down, or they've always treated me like dirt, and it's sort of given me that suggestion that, apart from that Ella, of course, I don't know what it is about Ella, there's something about that one specific person which touched my heart, basically. I just don't know what it is. I can tell you now, she is the cutest I've ever seen, and you can work her out just by her facial appearance. When I went to go to the loo, I said, watch my bag, won't you? I knew she wouldn't touch it, and she didn't. I could just tell what sort of person she is. I'm not psychic, but I got that. But now it's taken away. I've got to live the rest of my life with people thinking I'm with her, with the media suggesting that I'm with her, with commercials, adverts. They're implying that I'm going to be with her when I'm 45, or this is quite serious, you know what I mean? I don't actually know if it's actually possible, whether it's completely through. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. But the thing is, as soon as I knew her, for many, many years, these jungle tracks that I've been listening to, I never really noticed it, it's saying Ella or whatever. I just took it as a sample. And then as soon as I knew that Ella, straight away, as soon as the it just started unfolding, and it just everywhere. It's like an explosion of this. It's like straight away in just a few months, 200 plus tracks suggest the name of Ella. Then I found out all the other things like the book and the cover. Then it started opening. I found a picture that I like on YouTube. I wanted to take that picture, so I played the track to see if what it said. It mentioned Ella. It's like it's unfolding everywhere. That specific person. The thing is, it could be the biggest mistake that they've ever made in history, or God made in history, or where the CIA made a mistake, or where they made a bigger mistake, where it could involve war. I do not know. But something's gone on. I mean, rather than going to war, if they want to work it on a principle, making the suggestion that because they've taken Ella from me, they could go into World War III, and the suggestions that are applying at the moment, this minute in time, with only that one suggestion, but that one suggestion is just Putin, so or otherwise take that away, the whole structure of the media, or the structural connection of the system. It's just at the moment it's just saying that I'm going with Ella, or they're connecting me with Ella, and it's the revelation basically. That's what they're doing. But you can't have that if you've been cut off from each other. But rather than go to war, if you want to work on the principle of going to war, why don't you just replace that person for someone else? It'd just be a different god, that's all. If one god has fallen, then another god can take its place. Why don't they work it on that principle if they want to work it on the principle of going to war, if this is what they're up to? I'm not exactly sure what's going on, to be fair, but it goes in favour of me, obviously, because I want someone, because I never had anyone, in the suggestions that are occurring, or what they need to do. But when it comes to this setup that's around me when I'm walking about, that's against me, and it always has been. This setup or control force around me it's done in the UK, because when this force, or whatever, this structural force, and going back 10 years ago, I was trying to speak to, it was when I got scammed and I made that Western Union payment of nearly 700 quid, and I never got it back when I went to Action Fraud on one of the scams. There's been loads, but that's one of them. It was in that time period where they were making the suggestion, like they were backstabbing America, basically, making the suggestion, if anyone in America tries finding me a girlfriend and comes over into the UK, they'll blow up the blow up the White House in America, basically. So they were sort of suggesting that with the setups, and that's where I discovered and found out that these setups are not being done by another country that's controlled on. It's definitely being caused by UK forces, this control that's around me, and not from other countries. It's definitely a UK structural force that even occurs when you're on the Isle of Wight, when I'm on a short holiday. And they nearly knocked a politician over in the time period when I was in a taxi in 2015 with my mum to go to the dating agency to try and find someone in 2015 area while controlling these setups around me. But it's definitely done in the UK. In actual fact, if we go to Barrow, I can't remember what year it was back when I was living at Burnham-on-Sea. There was a time where they tried hitting into a Conservatives car on one occasion. I think it was Conservatives. I wasn't 100% sure because I didn't see the word properly on the car. And there was 2 occasions where the police were down there, and I was walking down at the same time the police were down there. And where they thought it was me, they tried crashing into police cars, causing a collision by people coming out of a roadway in a certain way, in the way it's timed, and at a certain period, in that sort of way. So I don't know who's doing this or who's causing this force, But it's like they don't care about anybody. They just want to destroy me, basically. However, when it comes to the media, music industry, or stuff like that, it seems to be a lot more different. It seems to be applying that I'm going with Ella, and this person's life's changing, but done in a way where they want to sort of suggest that the return of God, that you're going to basically get with Ella, and that there's going to be a return of God, and it's going to be the gateway to heaven before it goes to war. They kind of suggesting that as well. But the thing is, like I said, this person's been taken. It's going to have to be replaced with somebody new. As it currently stands, there is no one at all that I know. Family, not possible. I won't go into details, but I've worked it all out, even in the future. Relatives, not possible. And the further you go down, people start to hate me. And there's not many that like me, and they're all in relationships anyway. The ones that are like born to be the sexual looking type when they reach legal age of consent. If they're over 11, they're in relationships. All of them. Obviously, when they're at that age, they go into like several different relationships. And when they're about 14, they stick with that person, and that person makes them pregnant, and it's too late. This is why I can't get anyone. And also, like I said earlier, with the smartphone network, as soon as one person dumps them or whatever because they find a fitter girl or whatever, and they suffering for that girl because of the sexualness of that person, they then the next young man or whatever would grab that person before anybody else, and he gets his meal, But with me, I've never had any friends, and this is why I can't find anyone, and I don't use a smartphone. And everybody on the internet won't make friendship unless they know you in person. And then even on dating, the ones that are genuine, saying I don't know you in person, and that I only make friends with people that I know in person on dating. So they're very closed off. And with all the scammers, 99% nearly everybody being a scammer now, they made it literally impossible. But if there is anyone that can help me that's legal age of consent, please get in touch, because I'm getting, being the age I am and being sexually abused and never having anyone, it gets more difficult because people moan about the age gap, and I've got a bit of grey hair coming. But don't let that put you off, because I do have see me from the inside, yeah, not from the outside. But also look at me on the outside as well, because most people have some form of, not all people, but some people are like the same in the inside as they are on the outside. But whatever occurs, before Putin goes to war, when it comes to war, it's not actually caused by Putin as such. It's by the people higher up than him. It's a one world governmental system. They're all controlled, and if something has to be done, it has to be done. But it's done underground, and it's not actually done or caused by that specific person or whatever. It's caused by the Illuminati, as they call it. That's an easier description to describe it. So it's a one world government where they're in control, and these people have to put in force or in control what they're told to do. They're not the actual ones that are actually doing it. They're told to do it. And that's where all things... So, but either way, there's going to be no connection where me and Ella are going to open the doorway to heaven as a return, now that we've been cut off with... Yeah, so there's going to be no return whatsoever of heaven. So it looks like it's going to have to be a replacement person. But it doesn't make sense. You go through this all day, you can repeat the same thing. Let's put it this way. Someone help me. I need a girlfriend. Simple as that. I don't know what else to say, because it's just going round in circles. Girlfriend before World War III. Because what they have been doing for many years has been suggesting that, because they keep thinking that I've had someone, or they've had someone. In the time period they were thinking that, going back 10 years ago, they were making the suggestion they're ripping me to pieces and destroying me because Jesus Christ won't kick inside of me to return. But they're not taking into account, and they keep thinking I've had sex when they were suggesting this, or people were saying this. And this is why I've always had problems on sexual grounds and threats on sexual grounds, or accused of molesting children or molesting women or whatever. when I've not had anyone. It's only sort of in recent years, last decade, that I tried telling them I've not had anyone yet. And they just will not listen. They just will not listen. And now, since this has occurred, they're now making the suggestion that Ella's the one that's coming into your life to cause this change, as there's no rebirth, and that you're going to get in a relationship, and that's going to create the doorway to heaven. But the problem is, looking on two gods, as I was saying earlier, on the way that they're suggesting that is, not as if I am God, or she is God, or whatever, but just in the interpretation of what's being suggested. If two have been disconnected with safeguardings, it's going to have to be replaced, or it'll probably go into war, I don't know. But I would prefer it if it was replaced, because I've never had anyone. So if you're that person, there's not a mother, feminine look, smooth attraction, like everybody else has had, not too used or well used, then just get in touch. Nothing else I can say. They basically cut the wrists just in time, and I'm not happy about it. Fuck knows how it's gonna be done, or who can help me, but it's gonna have to be someone in the UK. I'm willing to relocate, even if it's on a trial basis. If it is on a trial basis, I can guarantee you it'll go into a relationship anyway. But if you want to do it on a trial basis, please give me that chance, because no one has ever even given me that chance. I've not had a one night stand, I've not had nothing. That's right through my whole life, I've never been given a chance. So if you're single, got a smooth attraction appearance, and not a mother, doesn't matter about the age gap, doesn't matter about the age, as long as it's someone I can fancy, and someone that's very nice, someone that's friendly, and someone that's got a nice calm accent similar to mine, not into the dry and sarcastic type. I don't mind the sort of drier accents like the gypsy type, or some people that have got that sort of accent, but not the sort of... I'd need to get to know that person really to say. So any age from legal age of consent up, please get in contact. It doesn't matter what age. I mean, there might be people as high as 60 that are still fresh, and have a nice sexy body, It's not age that's so much the problem, but I would prefer younger. But like I said, it doesn't matter. I go for the appearance and the accent, and presumably, hopefully, that person, if that person is not a mother or two still, yeah. So yeah, please give me a trial if you can, because I can tell you now, I don't know for certain, as I keep saying, everything's controlled around me in a force where it's saying I'm going with Ella. But it can't be possible if we're disconnected and not allowed to have nothing to do with each other, because they're concerned about the age gap. Because they're in authority, they see her as, how do I word it, vulnerable to older men. Because a lot of people in the UK seem to be more fussy about age gaps today. They've got this new rule where older men, they're making younger women, even though they're legal age, they're known as vulnerable. But on this occasion of what I told you about the media, the music industry, uncovering the God suggestion, I think you can basically say everyone will cut their throat. If you're looking at it on the principle as the doorway to heaven of the two colliding in a relationship. But like I said, even though the suggestion is still strongly there, applying that this is not going to fall through, with noetic science technology that doesn't mess up from the CIA or the people that are higher up, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know the future. But they're suggesting, you don't have a Jungle mixtape that comes out, 30 years ago, predicting what's going to happen in 30 years' time, saying that you're going with Ella when you're 45, when it's already been fucked up by authority, taking her away from the community place that we met on the 14th of January 2026. Alright. I forgot to mention this on the recording. This is an email I had from a lady I messaged on dating site going back to in January, in fact, this year. The same month as the person I've been talking about in this recording. Her name is, what was it she named herself? Return of, God's girl, number 4, and then you. One word. That's her username. Well, I had to reply. Basically, she replied, basically, you're too old. So I said, is too little, too late. And everyone else said the same when it comes to that. I can't remember the exact wording that I messaged. Drained and over process coming back. Lots of bikes, lots of black and blue and granny suggestions.